Someone asked me the other day what I thought would be one of the most noticeable marketing campaign strategies of the first 20 years of the new century. I gave a brief thought, and then almost without any critical thought, I blurted out crowdsourcing campaigns. In the last few years, I have seen bands get started with recording costs, businesses raise money for franchise fees, cancer patients get help with medical bills, and movie projects raise money for production costs. One very effective marketing concept is involving the consumer at aggressive levels, literally giving the consumer a piece of the proverbial pie. Crowdsourcing allows the consumer to find ideas and activities he or she is passionate about, investigating them for validity and putting money where they think it will do the most good. No government strings, no being forced to contribute only to see a large portion of the money go to administrative costs, and a complete element of transparency that allows the consumer to see real-time progress. There are many kinds of crowdsourcing that offer different incentives for both the investor and the entrepreneur. However, this presentation is not just about crowdsourcing per se. This presentation will discuss an innovative marketing concept that, like crowdsourcing, puts the control in the hands of the contributing supporter. Over the last few years, I've had the distinct pleasure of watching a website startup literally go viral on every imaginable level. The Blaze website is actually a subsidiary of Mercury Radio Arts. There are other sites that fall under the same umbrella. Mercury Inc. is a publishing site for new and upcoming authors. 1791 is an all-American made clothing site mostly known for 1791 jeans that are made on the same loom, by the way, that used to produce Levi's. The Blaze TV is a TV internet station that has broken the surly bonds of digital existence to become one of the fastest growing TV stations among satellites and traditional cable systems. The Marketplace is a retail site where American entrepreneurs can advertise unique products that are made in America, primarily by small family operations. The Blaze Radio is beginning to get traction in traditional terrestrial markets and has already established a sizable following on SiriusXM satellite and iHeartRadio. The Glenn Beck website has been in existence the longest and until recently was the best known and visited. However, while these sites link back and forth to one another, there is one other website that quietly resides in the background doing great things for communities around the country. Mercury One is a charitable website that operates outside the norm of traditional charity sites. Most of the sites listed before have a very unique marketing strategy powered by innovative tactics to permeate the bulkheads of a target market. Mercury One does not focus on a target market. Rather, Mercury One targets people that want to help others with the confidence that 100% of the donations will go to the specific purpose for which they were contributed. Relief for millions of victims of hurricanes, tornadoes, man-made disasters, and earthquakes have been collected and distributed with not one penny going to administrative costs. Through the use of social media and the media sites introduced earlier, Mercury has found a way to crowdsource charitable contributions while also crowdsourcing operational cash that covers the administrative costs for the entire year. When the supporters participate in these crowdsourcing efforts, they are aware that the money is being used to keep the charitable organization fluid and the donations to specific causes at 100%. It is one of the most innovative marketing campaigns I have personally witnessed. The principle is simple. When they begin funding relief for a storm like Superstorm Sandy that hit the Northeast a couple of years back, contributors knew that all of the money donated for that relief would make it to the victims. The same applied to donations for the victims of tornadoes in Moore, Oklahoma, and the blast victims in West Texas. Therein lies the secret of Mercury One's crowdsourcing for operational costs while becoming one of the most fast-acting relief organizations in the country. Over the last 4 years, Glenn Beck has hosted several events where all the revenue generated goes specifically to the operational cost for Mercury One. The most recent was Man in the Moon, a book Beck had found several years back that had no known author and was written sometime shortly after World War II inspired the story. Beck finished the story to include current events and created one of the most fascinating stage productions ever for a live outdoor event. With teams from Cirque du Soleil to in-house teams of graphic artists from American Dream Labs and another Beck holding, Beck weaves a story of spoken word, sky dancer, and compelling images. The story covers the history of man in about 2 hours, beginning with creation all the way to the events following 9/11. While the story is excellent, the marketing launch was even more clever and took almost 2 years from inception to the live show. Beck unveiled a TV commercial for 1791 jeans in 2011. The last comments of the commercial included the tagline, "You may not ever get to the moon, but you can darn well shoot for it." Little did the audience know that the commercial was a clever tease for Glenn Beck's biggest and most costly production to date. The show miraculously went off without a hitch despite terrible storms that lingered almost up to the opening of the production. Suddenly a rainbow appeared in the sky and over the massive outdoor venue, and the audience was treated to a near flawless performance that had never been dress rehearsed. Man in the Moon filled to excess the operational coffers of Mercury One. However, this was not the first time Beck had pulled generosity from the clear blue sky. The series of annual events goes back to 2009 with the 9/12 Project. The series continued with Restoring Honor in 2010, Restoring Courage in 2011, and Restoring Love in 2012, which was the first time Cowboys AT&T Stadium had been sold out by any kind of a spoken word event. All of these events were hugely successful. They were also met with some very critical and unsubstantiated criticism in the mainstream media, but that did not even slow the success down. The concept of taking a near billion-dollar media company and using it as a springboard for legitimate community relief and assistance is probably not a new concept, but it is a concept that for some time now has been sorely lacking in prevalence. It is ironic that so many want to see failure in a venue where failure would be disastrous for victims, employees, and the people that Mercury One has been able to help. Yet even with a media that will not only block news of these events, but also play down the benefits to communities they serve, Beck and his team and Mercury One continue to thrive. It is here where the magic of Mercury One's marketing success can be found. When any company that values stakeholders over stockholders presents a product honestly, respectfully, concisely, and creatively, along with empowering the consumer with an active role in that product's marketing implementation, it removes that partition that leaves the consumer feeling as though they were out of the loop. Like crowdsourcing, Mercury One has found an effective way to get people from various markets to willingly use social media, email, word of mouth, and shared images to help their fellow Americans. People, for the most part, are caring and giving. A good marketing campaign transcends the naysayers by recognizing the natural humanity out there. It allows the consumer to belong, and it gives the new consumer a sense of security that they are getting what they paid for or giving to what they wanted to support, and then some.